Hello. I don't know how fast I gotta do this because every time I try to go and record this for you people, someone just walks into the background and they're like, hey, someone's crying. Or hey, I'm hungry. Hey, my butt hurts. All kinds of weird stuff. Um, so, this is our first weekly recap of our results, week one. The week that shows just because you decided to win a championship last year doesn't mean you're worth a damn this year. You can get your ass knocked off by a league rookie, as happened this week. Um, so, uh, let's start with our commissioner picks. So, as for the commissioner picks, I personally went 3-2. Scotty went 1-4. The only pick that Scotty got right was he knew that I would win. Uh, I mean, sounds legit. When in doubt, pick me. Um, but that was actually one of the two that I got wrong. He and I both picked Darren to beat Craig. Little did I know, uh, you know, Craig would be really smart with his starts this week and get a W. Um, as far as my you don't got the balls to make this move, it worked out for one person who took the advice. Didn't really work out for the other two that I saw went ahead and took my advice. Um, whoops, I'm mad. But I'll tell you, in both of those cases, neither one of them won or lost you that matchup, so I didn't lose the week for you. Um, so with our first matchup, we have Brandon versus myself. Brandon was a 15-point favorite in this matchup, especially after my Thursday night 4-point flop by my kicker. Apparently didn't matter, as I had the league's highest scoring player that was not a quarterback in Tyreek Hill, who dropped 36 points. James Conner scoring 30 points. Fuck you, Le'Veon. Carlos Hyde dropped 12, and my defense grabbed 20. Those four players alone beat Brandon's squad this week. Brandon got kind of bit by the injury bug. Mariota got hurt, scored him 1 point. Baldwin got hurt, I think dropped to 0 for him. Uh, you know, goes to show you, if you have last year's number one rated quarterback in fantasy, I don't know, maybe fucking start him every week. Russell Wilson dropped 19. You wouldn't have won, but you might not have looked stupid doing so. That and a -7 from your defense. It's a huge swing. If you get like a regular score from your defense and start Russell Wilson, you score 110. You still lose, but at least you don't look like a total schmuck. But he did get some good performances from his wideouts: Robbie Anderson, Demarius Thomas, Golden Tate. Uh, he's got a good team that's going to score some points. So he's good going forward, but tough week one for Brandon. Next matchup is Craig versus Darren. Craig, my little pet project. Uh, Craig, this is a welcome to the league gift from your commissioner and four-time champ. The three guys I told you to start scored a combined 47 points. The three guys you were going to start in their place scored 16. You still started Kenyon Drake, who got you 5. Ugh. And you left Philip Dorsett on the bench, who would have gotten you 12. So you didn't get all the points that I had thrown out there for you, but you got enough to pull off your first victory. And again, maybe you regret that Jimmy Garoppolo pick just a wee bit. Darren, uh, I know nowhere in any world would you've ever actually started Patrick Mahomes. Who thought this guy was going to drop 28, or the tight end Kittle on the bench would have gotten you 9. Um, if you had made those two starts, you would have pulled off the victory, and you'd have beaten Craig even with all my help. But those are tough starts. Uh, Craig, I think it still looks kind of rough going forward for you, but at least you get that first win out of the way, and you got a shot going forward. Especially if Travis Kelce starts to score more than 0, you should just drop him. No one will pick him up. I promise. Um, with that said, our next matchup is our defending champ Scotty and second place finisher in this year's combine, if anyone was wondering, versus Nikki. Now, we saw these two in their rivalry at the combine, where Scotty cooked Nikki, established dominance, alpha male, and decided he was the one who was going to kick his ass. And of course, Nikki would be able to get his revenge week fucking 1. So says the schedule gods. Nikki absolutely trumped the champ. It was a tough sledding for Scotty. He did listen to me and started Tariq Cohen over Juju Smith-Schuster, but the difference of the 10 points between what Schuster scored and what Cohen scored isn't going to help you when you lose by 40. So it is what it is. Deshaun Watson only scored 11 points against the Patriots, who gave up 41 points to Nick Foles in the fucking Super Bowl. So maybe it's Matt Patricia's fault because he's a fat tub of shit who sucks ass at coaching. Man, just spitballing. I said in my commissioner note last week that I thought Scotty's flex was trash. Combined, the 3 players did not score 10 points. So, that's trash. He's going to have to make some better starts. He had Deshaun Jackson score 28 points on his bench. Deshaun Jackson is notorious for catching like an 80-yard pass for a touchdown and then disappearing for 6 weeks. Apparently, this was the one showing that he has for a while, and who knows if Scotty's going to risk starting him next week, or if he's going to fucking turn into a pumpkin and start scoring 0 points again. So that was tough. And also Case Keenum on the bench scoring 21 points. But again, who's going to start Case fucking Keenum when you got Deshaun Watson, last year's #1 fantasy quarterback, before he got hurt? So, even if he had made those 2 moves, if he had started Jackson and started Keenum, he still would have only ended up with 130 points, and he'd have still lost by 2 to Nick. So there was no winning for him. It was just one of those, you sit back and watch your opponent kick your ass, because that's all that happened. Nicky had 7 players in double figures, and he also had 4 players on his bench scoring double figures. That was by far the most on one team that didn't have 4 quarterbacks. That's pretty big. He did lose Delaney Walker to IR this week. And he did get to see firsthand, as Brandon did all last year, that Amari Cooper sucks at catching footballs with his hands. He can catch balls in his mouth, but that's about it. And you don't get fantasy points for testicles caught in your mouth. If so, we'd be drafting Eli in this league. Just saying. So besides that, Nicky's going to have to replace a tight end. I didn't really look to see if he had one on the roster or not, but an absolutely huge victory for Nicky to start off his career in the League of Beef with a W. Good. Speaking of ball, okay. Don't make fun of my damn lazy eye. I seen it go. I get it. It happens. All right. I got this weird lazy eye. It likes to blink all by itself, and now I'm doing it on purpose. But fuck you. Okay. Back to my recap. Eli versus Fabian. Now, this is unfair to start with, because I called choo that Eli was going to absolutely run over Fabian. and he probably swapped out 4 or 5 different players who scored in the single digits and still beat the shit out of Fabian. Eli was the highest scoring team of the week with 141 points, so he beat me by 1 point. Um, he also had 7 players in double figures, and technically had a perfect lineup. There was no starts that he could have made that would have increased his score. He started the exact right lineup of players that he had. The only person who started a perfect lineup this week was Eli. I honestly think it was a product of really great matchups for him. His players were playing against some really shitty teams. Sometimes it's a perfect storm. We'll see how it does when his players go up against better competition. But right now they look good. The Fournette injury is scary. I hope everybody and their mother goes to claim Yeldon this week because hamstring injuries, they're nagging. It's what fucking ended Arian Foster's run as number 1 player. Hamstrings are scary and they can lead to bigger, leg injuries. So, Fabian, man, I said in my last video that I had so many things that I would tell you to do with your lineup. You had. I told you that Tyrod Taylor was going to outscore Tom Brady, and I was right. I know you're saying, Matt, but I owe my life to Tom Brady. I masturbate every day to him. We know. We went over this before. But Tom Brady can be outscored by other quarterbacks, even Tyrod Taylor. I don't know if you know, but the Cleveland Browns tied a game. Just saying. But Fabian's team scored 2 zeros. He had 3 players that were under 5 points. So you're talking, he scored I think it was something stupid like 10 points between 6 players. And even if you have the other 4 players go off, which he kind of did, you're not going to win. Especially if you're playing against a team that drops 141 points. You have to have consistent scoring through the lineup. So you might want to, make some moves. Do something to better the shit heap that is your team. Fucking lazy eye. See it again. The last matchup we have is JG versus Brandy. Now, I know what Brandy's going to say. Brandy's going to say, Matt, you're just going to tell me that I'm lucky and I always win week 1. Yeah, I am. But along with the luck Brandy, which she has, whether she wants to admit it or not, her team was the better team this week. I looked at it on paper when I wrote my commissioner note, and I said not only is it the luck of Brandy, but I believe she truly has a better lineup this week. And I don't think there was really any point during the weekend, that I thought she was going to lose the matchup. She did really good. Even when Rodgers went down, she still had the matchup won against JG. But Rodgers come back and scored 26 points. I thought I was going to get my don't start Rodgers, start Andrew Luck pick right. It wasn't way off. I think it was like a 26-20 difference. If Rodgers didn't have to play out his butt down 20 points, he probably wouldn't have scored that many. But, in the end, he did really good. So kudos to keeping Aaron Rodgers in your starting lineup. Brandy's bench scored really good points. She had 3 players in double figures. 7 players out of her 10 scored double figures. So she again had nice thorough scoring all the way through the lineup, which is what it's going to take to win these matchups against good teams like JG. JG had the Chargers defense suck. -3 points. You're never going to win when your defense isn't scoring any points, nonetheless going negative. He had Freeman and Goodwin both get hurt during the games. Neither one of them notched over 5 points. And to have Devonta Freeman not score you more than 5 points, you're going to be hurting to make up those points elsewhere. And Kareem Hunt and Zach Ertz also garbage this week. So that's 4 players that were, a dumpster fire for JG that he counts on every week for big points. He left a ton of points on his bench. I saw 3 starts that aren't really far off. the norm that someone logically could have looked at and go, I should make these starts, and it would have scored him 132 points for the week. He was the opposite of Eli's lineup. So he did the unperfect lineup where he left a shit ton of points on the bench, and just couldn't recoup from that. So I will be doing another segment, hopefully with my co-commissioner later on this week, if he'd like to do one of these with me. Maybe we can do our predictions together, or I'll just do it separately, and he can go, type his out or whatever the way he wants to do it. But I think it should be fun. It was a great week one, like I said. Looking forward to our matchups for this coming week. I kind of want to see how our waiver day goes and what the matchups are looking like before we get all crazy about predicting who's going to win who. We got me versus Darren. JG takes on Brandon. Scotty will take on Brandy. Craig gets Fabian, so maybe Craig goes 2-0. Who knows? Nikki will take on Eli, so we'll see two of the better teams this week go against each other. So I mean, we got some decent matchups coming up this week. Should be a lot of fun. Damn lazy, I'm right at the end of the video. Son of a bitch. Huh. Well, I guess that's the end of it. Look, I didn't go to 20 minutes. It's only like 16 and 45 seconds or whatever. I'm tired. It's fucking 10 o'clock at night. A shitty day. Shit happens, right? In the end, we all get to play fantasy football, so why should a day be shitty? So I take that back. I'm gonna go have a soda, lay in my undies, watch some TV, and I'm gonna pass out, and then I'm gonna wake up and do this shit all over again. Hopefully, I'll get all my waiver claims. Hopefully, everyone's like, oh, no one wanted TJ Hilton, and I'll end up getting him. The only other thing I had was JG. If you get to read this before the waiver claim goes through, you have a roster error, my friend. You cannot have a player on your IR that isn't listed as out or IR. You have, I believe Sony Michel is questionable. So when you go to make a waiver move, it's going to deny all of your waiver moves because you have a roster error, because you can't have a player that's not out in your IR spot. So you might want to go change that, put Jeremy Hill in your IR spot, or drop Sony Michel if you don't want him. But I'm giving you fair warning that if 3 a.m. hits and they do those waiver claims and you got claims in and you got that dude, Sony Michel, sitting there on your IR, poof, none of your claims are going to go through. This isn't something new. This is how all leagues work. So make sure you correct that. I could be a dick and just be like, I'm not going to tell the kid about it, and then we'll all get our claims and you won't get any. But then you're going to be pissed off and feel cheated, and I don't want that. I want you at your best. So when I beat your ass, I deserve it. And in the end, once I beat all your asses, you all deserve it.